Financial Insider Weekly. I'm your host, Michael Gray, CPA. My guest today is Lamar Baxter. Lamar is a business development representative for Entrust Administration Incorporated. He has over 20 years of financial experience. In addition to specializing in self-directed retirement accounts, he's knowledgeable about residential mortgage loans for both primary homeowners and investors. And he has experience in commercial lending, accounts receivable, factoring, and private notes secured by real estate. He's able to provide his clients, partners, financial professionals, real estate professionals, and investors with the tools required to invest in real estate-related transactions and other alternative investments with a self-directed IRA account. So today, we're going to be talking about alternative investments besides real estate in your Roth or IRA account. We previously discussed real estate, and you can see that interview under past episodes at www.financialinsiderweekly.com under past episodes, as I said. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to caution you that we are discussing issues in a very complex area. We hope that this is just a starting point for a bigger discussion, and we want you to get qualified legal and tax advice. Very important. So Lamar, welcome. Thank you for being my guest today.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Okay. Well, let's get started. Why did you get into the area of offering independent trust services for IRAs and Roth accounts?
Well, as a result of the downturn in the market and the economy as a whole in 2008, I myself, as a consumer and account holder of an IRA, I was looking for some place to place my money in 2008. So, of course, I moved my money over to a self-directed IRA. And just so happened that around that period of time, I was also looking to make a job change. So at that point in time, Entrust was one of the options on the table, in addition to traditional custodian. So of course, me moving my money out of traditional market over to a self-directed IRA seemed like the right thing to do. Puts me in a position to actually practice what I'm preaching.
Good, okay. So why would someone consider the alternative of a self-directed IRA with an independent trustee?
Well, unlike a traditional or conventional IRA, you have the ability to choose your investments. In terms of options, you have a much wider array of options available to you. We don't promote any particular investment. We leave it totally up to the account holder to select their investment. So there's a lot of freedom and independence for the actual IRA holder to make the investment choice.
Okay. So how is your service different from a self-directed plan at a bank or a brokerage company?
They're usually going to either provide you advice and then somewhat steer you towards particular investments. At Entrust or any other self-directed IRA custodian, once again, we leave it totally up to you. We're providing ongoing education in terms of what your investments options are, in addition to promoting, that you seek the education and perform your due diligence. But once again, it's totally up to you, giving you the power and control to build your retirement account and make it as diverse as possible.
Right. And I guess one related to that is that these other banks or brokerage companies may say that you have a self-directed account, that you have choices, but then they say, here's what your choices are. They sort of give you a menu where I guess you have a lot more flexibility when you're dealing with somebody like Entrust.
Right. The term self-directed IRA is a generic term, is being at least used generically amongst some of the other custodians with traditional investments. So the true measuring stick in terms of whether you have a self-directed IRA is to ask the custodian that you're considering to open that account, can you invest in precious metals, foreign currency, real estate, and more than likely the answer is going to be no. So then you know that you do not have a quote-unquote truly self-directed IRA.
Okay. Okay. So what types of retirement plans do you handle?
We handle the IRA, which is traditional IRA, the Roth IRA, the simple IRA, the SEP IRA, Then you have also which we call the spousal IRA, which is the equivalent of a traditional IRA, but this is an IRA that the spouse, the non-working spouse, can actually take advantage of to open an account without being quote unquote employed or having an income. We also offer the individual K, which is a form of a 401k plan.
Okay. Now, do you handle large plans, or are you, like, if you had Hewlett-Packard come to you, would you say, "Oh yeah, great, come on," or?
Well, we have the ability to offer at least the trust services for a large plan, but primarily our plans are set up for, if as a business, is for small and medium-sized businesses, usually where the business owners are usually a husband and wife or two partners, and with no common law employees.
Okay. So what kinds of unusual investments besides real estate do you see being held in these IRAs and Roth accounts?
Well, usually the question is, what can I invest in? So it's a lot easier for me to give you the short list in terms of what you cannot invest in.
Okay.
And those two categories would be life insurance and collectibles. The more popular categories that I've seen in the last 12 months would be, of course, real estate, private placements, which would be limited partnerships, LLCs, precious metals, foreign currencies, secured and unsecured loans. Considering the banks are not lending, that is a real hot item as well.
So like private mortgages.
Private mortgages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of a hot area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an alternative. You know, when we talk about people who are interested in investing in real estate in some way, it may be a little overwhelming if they try to get into actually investing in the property itself. I mean, there is going to be some management involved.
True.
But if you go to the private mortgage, then it's a way of investing in real estate, while it's a much simpler way of investing. In other words, it's secured by the real estate. And you can even have some participation. You can have an equity kicker, I guess you call it, or equity sharing related to when the property is eventually sold. Taxes, interest, but since it's inside of an IRA or a Roth,
Right.
you know, no tax in the account.
And I've actually seen structures in both, in terms of two components in a promissory note or actually in a loan, to where they will receive a fixed rate of return as well as a quote-unquote equity share in the property. So there's a lot of options you have available. You can be a little creative with it.
Okay. So what are some of the investments that are well suited to hold in an IRA or a Roth?
Almost any investment, once again, that does not fall in the category of life insurance and collectibles. Once again, most account holders are looking around and seeing what's going on in the economy. There's a lot of strong businesses, or I should say business with strong business models that may not have the operating capital they once had. So people are actually investing in these businesses either in the form of a loan, or once again investing in the business to receive a percentage of the profits. So just a lot of different opportunities out there.
Yeah. I think, though, that for the most part, the things that are really well suited for IRAs are passive investments. Because when you have an active a business or something else that you're holding in there, then we're going to talk about a little bit of unrelated business income. So then you've got this compliance thing. You have to be, more careful about tripping up related to things like that, and prohibited transactions and that sort of stuff. So personally, I favor the more passive investments. Although some people, they choose other things.
Well, that's usually where one would loan money to a business opposed to invest in the business to avoid that option or that milestone.
Yeah. So the loans are a pretty good way to go. That you may want to do, the more active things personally, and then have the more passive type of investments inside of your retirement account.
Correct.
And that doesn't mean, again, that you can't do some of these other things. It's just, I'm just saying what's maybe better suited. Okay. So what are the most common alternative investments that you're seeing being held in IRAs and Roths?
Precious metals, foreign currency. I'm seeing a spike in the investment in the Iraqi dinar.
Really?
International real estate, People are actually investing in real estate in other countries, in private placements.
And I guess we could say domestic real estate.
Domestic real estate,
so,
yeah, of course.
So it's kind of hot right now because of the prices. We're not. That's not the focus of this interview, but nonetheless, it's very popular for these self-directed accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked a little bit about private money mortgages. So maybe we should talk a little bit. What kind of co-investments are possible for a business?
Types of co-investments. That's kind of one of those areas. Usually, we, once again, not giving it advice, we usually try to steer the investor from that area because of the possibility of committing a prohibited transaction. My office, personally, because it's one of those areas when I'm asked that question, I usually will have them go talk to their CPA and an attorney, and after they come back, after speaking to those two entities, they usually decide against that type of investment. So as it relates to my offices, none have actually come across my desk.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw out some things here. So I am the CPA here at the table. So, so one is, of course, C corporation stock. So just like you can hold traded stock, but you can also hold private stock.
Correct.
In an IRA, but not. You shouldn't be an S corporation. It should be a C corporation.
Right. So corporation, well, like I said, a C corp, and I know I'd actually spoken with. So that actually can tie into real estate as well, because a lot of people are using an S or C corp or LLC or LP to acquire a property as well. Depending on whether they're buying and flipping, will determine which entity they will actually go with in terms of making their investment.
Right. And so, and then the second is partnerships and LLCs, and so this gives more flexibility as far as operating the property, so that you don't have to go back to, particularly the single person LLC. You don't have to go back to Entrust every time you need to have a check written. Yeah. Basically, the cash is in the LLC, and you can write the checks.
So yeah, that's the feature of the checkbook control that they have, opposed to going back to us for every check that needs to be cut. It gives them the ability to write the check, but of course one of the downsides could be is that if you're the manager of, for example, that LLC, you need to adhere to all the rules in IRS Code 4975, because you, in essence, you will be taking on the role of an administrator to making sure that you follow the rules as it relates to each transaction. So I usually let those individuals know that's considering that option that you will be taking on that role.
That's right. And of course, we'll talk about this a little further later, but if it is in fact operating a business, then these entities will throw off unrelated business taxable income. And one thing that we should mention here, though, is that even if you do have unrelated business taxable income, IRAs and Roths aren't subject to self-employment tax. So that is a bit of an advantage, like 14%. So,
right.
So that's kind of a nice feature. Okay. So what about, I get this question from time to time, can I put my stock options or stock acquired from stock options into an IRA or a Roth?
If you have stock in which you own stock in your name personally and you're looking to move it over, the answer is no, because the rule is that you cannot acquire any asset that you've had previous or existing ownership interest in. Now, if you're looking to take advantage of both traditional and non-traditional investments, usually what will happen is you can establish an account with Entrust. You would then complete the paperwork, open up the brokerage account under that particular brokerage under the name of the self-directed IRA. So in essence, what would happen is the IRA, self-directed IRA, would own that brokerage account.